It's usually when we get our mind involved in the process of writing, then we sometimes just get these blocks in between. So to avoid an interruption in the flow of this beautiful writing process, also known as consciousness streaming, there's individuals who are trance writers, and what happens with them is they literally get into an internal state of trance, and they simply allow that energy to flow to and through them without getting the conscious mind involved. And we're all capable of this, just like we're capable of movement and allowing the energy to move through our bodies and just, you know, being in flow with that, harmony with that, just like that writing. So technically all these are energy mediums that are flowing through us. And technically it's just mediumship. There's so many purposes of poetry. And in the last student notes, I put, you know, in every student notes at the end of the session, I will be sending a little note on the many faces of poetry. So in the last one, if you recall, I had placed something, I put something about poetry for healing. And we explored some quotations and so forth. So that activity from yesterday was more about, not yesterday, sorry, last week was more about, you know, a healing process. And technically all of this is a healing process. But poetry, perhaps there is not enough said about its power, because the weight of words is very heavy, and poetry can be used as a means to do so many things, whether it's for yourself or whether it's for society, or to heal another person or a collective. There's so much. And if anybody would like to be brave enough to share something that is not yours, it's not yours what you just wrote, technically speaking. So if you kind of detach from ownership and think of yourself as an empty vessel that is just receiving, you're like a host. Just like when a guest comes to your house, you don't own the guest. You're basically there to hopefully be a good host, a generous host, a kind host, a loving host, and treat that guest as nice as you can while he or she lasts or visits. So like that, the poem too is only a guest. We don't own it. We don't really own our art. So this may help in kind of wanting to share. You can type if you don't want to in the chat, maybe your poem. You could turn off your video and recite it, or you can do whatever you want. So whoever would like to just, I guess, raise your hand or just put a little signal, and we'll listen to something that's not yours, but I'd like to listen to your guest. Is that Somaya in Syria?